Okay, yellow belts, this is your body movement drill for orange belt, and this is probably one of the most important body movement drills that we do in the ring. So there are others when you get to add weapons to them and things like that. Perhaps you might find them more flashy or cool, but I honestly think that this is one of the most fundamentally important body movement drills that we do. If you recall, when we started at white belt, we said when we introduced this concept of body movement drill, we said the footwork doesn't change as you go through the ranks. It's just what you do with that footwork that changes. So for yellow belt, all we do is we add a strike to the block, but that makes a huge difference because when we were doing our punch defenses or coming out fighting in our situationals, even for yellow belt, we said it's one thing if we just get out of the way of the punch, but if I matrix it and I'm bent over and I'm off balance and I don't have a platform from which to generate power quickly, it didn't do me a whole lot of good just to get out of the way of the punch. If I'm not in position to take advantage of it, I basically just prolong the inevitable, right? So what the yellow belt body movement drill is about is what it is teaching us is not only how to move, but then how to be still unbalanced, ready to generate power, to have that platform from which to generate power. It's very cliche, but I don't have a better way to describe it of being quote unquote coiled to strike once you get to that particular position of advantage, that angle or that position of advantage that the body movement drill teaches us to get to, right? It's do we have the capacity to take advantage of that, okay? And the yellow belt body movement drill is starting to instill that in us, and that carries over to so many different things, right? And if you can move and look good by generating power with the strikes here, then you are on your way to being able to really, again, have good power throw hate from a lot of different places and kind of at will, right? So the footwork moving forward and back, like we said, doesn't change. For white belt, it didn't really matter what our feet were, or if our hips are doing or whatever else, because if I'm just moving forward, coming at you, if I was just doing blocks, then it's really not that big of a deal what this is going on. But if I want to do, for example, a palm heel strike after, so moving forward and back, we do a high block, we add a palm heel strike. So after I do my high block, if now this hip stays back so that I can turn my hips and throw a strike. If my hips and shoulders are square on the block, that's all I got. I got nothing I got no power for the actual strike. So I do my high block, my hips turn, my heel flares, my belly button, the belt is flapping in the wind as I do it. Notice how this hand actually helps pull back. Moving backwards on the 3 and the 4 is the same thing. I don't want to see this. Remember we said there's a difference between turning my shoulders, because my weight is back, I'm leaning back, I'm not in a position to turn my hips back the other way, so all I got is a little shoulder twist versus setting my feet, turning my hips back the other way and generating power forward, okay? That takes more effort, it's more concerted effort, but if you want to hit hard, that's what you have to do. So moving forward and back, high block, palm heel, left foot starts, set your feet, turn your hips, 2, 3 back, and 4 back. Other side, I put my right foot forward, high block, push pull, with the hands, hips turn, belt flaps in the wind. 3 back, still turn back the other way, and 4, okay? I slowed it down so you can see the transition, but make sure good power as you do it. Side to side motion. Okay? I already kind of pushed and tried to ingrain this upon you. If I am on this scene, okay, on the mats, when I do this side to side motion, if I just slide this way, I'm tight roping, okay? To either side, right, I'm tight roping. So rather, we had you, when you did it, we said it was very important that you also square your feet up so that I can turn my hips. In this case, we're going to do a reverse punch. I come back to neutral, I go to the other side. Feet are shoulder width apart, I turn my hips, and I come back to neutral, okay? So if my heels are in line, tight roping, it's not the same. So I do my outside touch block just like I did for yellow belt. Reverse punch, good shoulder width stance, straddle the line. 2 back to neutral. Same thing on the other side. 3 and back 4. Slide back 45. I do my outside touch block like I did for yellow belt. I'm going to do an elbow. Now we haven't really formally taught the elbow in all the list of strikes, but we basically made you do it when you were doing your situationals or punch defenses. I already had you throwing elbows when you came out. So the mechanics are the same as my other reverse punches. I turn my hips, I flare my heel. My front hand is either going to pull back to my jaw or pull back, or if I'm grabbing a hold of a head or something like that, I can be pulling them into the elbow that way. So not picky either way. Okay, but more importantly, the hips are turning, the heel is flaring, all the mechanics of the reverse punch are coming. So I can throw my elbow this way. Now, if I can turn my hips this way, then I can open and turn my hips back the other way. The Chinese martial arts, we talk about the Sun Kwa, the Kwa, which is kind of this inguinal fold. Like when I turn my hips, there's the fold in my pants right here, okay, in the inguinal area, right? For white belt, first day, reverse punch, we taught you how to close, basically generate power by closing the Kwa. In Martial Arts 101, you learn how to do that. Good martial artists are really good at generating power by opening the Kwa. Right? So if I can do my forehand this way, I can open my hips back up this way. So maybe more to the side or behind me, I'm opening up this way, or maybe I'm shifting my weight using my front hand. I'm usually rocking back, but I can also just turn into that using my front leg and opening the Kwa that way. But so if I can do a forehand, I can do a backhand. For last class, we showed you the uppercut, how I check and stand up into my uppercut. I can use an elbow the same way. I can kind of crouch and stand up into it, an uppercut elbow striving straight up underneath the chin this way. And if I can go up, of course I can go back down. So I open the Kwa back up and I drop down. So either I'm dropping down on top of them or maybe pulling through and hitting someone behind me. Sometimes I don't have a lot of space, that's not going to be a good shot, not a lot of power there. Sometimes I can get a good strike back there. Kind of depends on what the situation is, okay, or where they are. But still, so we have all 4 cardinal directions: forehand, backhand, up and down. Not that you are going to do that in succession in order on someone, okay, but this is just an inventory of the 4 major elbow directions and making sure that you're putting power into it. So I don't want to see just arms, hips turn, open back up, stand up into it, and drop back down. So out of the body movement drill, I slide back to the left, make sure my back arm does the swing, forehand, backhand, up and down. 2, I stand back up. Other side, forehand, backhand, up and down, back up. One more time. Forehand, backhand, up and down. 2, 3. I hope your belt is flapping in the wind when you do it. Get your hips into it. Inside pivot. For white belt, I stepped off angle, did my 45-degree angle touch block, and then as I came around, this hand did a block. Okay? Now for yellow belt, same start. Now this hand, as I turn, is going to shoot out a front hand knife hand strike. Now this is kind of an awkward chop. It's different than what we normally do. My body rotation is helping me shoot, even though this is a front hand strike, is going to be palm up as I punch it out. Okay? Hapkido means way of coordinated power. What I don't want to see is this. That is not coordinated, nor is that power. And so what the pivot, this hip turn, the rotation of my body, is what helps me shoot that hand out. Even though it's off my front hand, because of the way the hips and shoulders are turning, it kind of almost feels a little more like a reverse punch counter that push-pull. So again, use the pivot to do the strike. Imagine they did the punch, they were stepping and punching at me this way. I was slipping out of the way, and then this hand, I'm gonna turn. I don't kind of, fall backwards and just kind of reach at them. I stand up out of this leg, I turn my body and drive into that chop, like into the side of the neck. Here, and chop. Or, you have to be really good, but if I could like stick to, if they're reaching for me, this block kind of sticks to them, or I'm able to follow that retraction, maybe I can get a hold of the arm, and I can snap to the elbow, and then roll that into an arm bar or something. You gotta be pretty lucky to catch it, but maybe you can do that as well, okay? I slip, and I hit the strike, I chopped it. I actually had a girl at IU who, her boyfriend got a little rough and threw a punch, and she just did this and turned off and snapped his arm, right? After 2 semesters of Aikido. So it can happen, right? But you gotta be pretty lucky for them to leave their arm out for that to happen, right? So probably to the neck, but still, okay? A couple of different options of where I'm aiming that strike. So one more time, left foot, right hand, left hand, palm up on the chop as I turn. 2 back to neutral. Other side, right foot, left hand. Now right hand does the strike as I turn. And 4, back to neutral. I'm going through these fast. You can always hit rewind and do it as many times as you need to do it. Okay? Back pivot. For yellow belt, as a white belt, for yellow belt, you did your low inside touch block. For orange belt, now you are going to add a ridge hand strike. And this is the one, so as I come around, I do my low inside touch block, and then I do a ridge hand strike. If it helps you visualize it, maybe they're trying to kick us, right? We block that kick as I get out of the way. That sends them, maybe they are kind of falling down and forward, and then there's a ridge hand strike coming up to hit me in the neck, or maybe across the throat then as they're falling into it. So that helps you visualize what's going on, okay? I know I didn't give a great imagery by myself, but there you go, okay? So I do my low inside touch block, and I'm gonna go to this side first so you can see what's going on. This hand comes up so I can use it again, push, pull, good ridge hand. Now, this is the one that students get, I don't want to say lazy, but we don't pay attention, and what I get is this. I'm still moving my body's going one way, and my punch is going against, my strike is going against the grain as I move backwards. Okay? It takes more effort, it takes more concerted effort to do my movement, plant my feet, change direction, drive off the floor, change direction, and get my hips going in the other direction to generate power there. But again, if you want to hit someone hard, that's what you have to do. Okay? And the body movement drill, right, again, at this point is instilling, is not just enough that I move and I'm halfway falling over on my hip doing one of these numbers when I get done, right? But when I am getting to that angle, I'm ready. I am coiled to strike. I'm ready to turn those hips back the other way. I have the potential to generate power when I get done with that footwork. That's what yellow belt to orange belt is about. Gotta get better at doing that, and life is gonna be so much easier in everything else we do when you come out fighting, okay? But again, the body movement drill for now. Right, we go to this corner first, right foot around, left hand does the block, set my feet, ridge hand, thumb tuck, palm down, 2, back up to neutral. Other side, right hand blocks, ridge hand, back up. Again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Cross step and turn. For yellow belt, I came around, I did an inside touch block as I came around. For orange belt, gonna turn the other way so you can see this. All right, so I came around, and if X marks the spot where I was standing, that's where I'm looking. For orange belt, when I come around, this block flows into the check for my uppercut. And then of course everyone will come back the same way. So I come around, I do my low inside, or I keep saying low, it's middle inside touch block, and check into my uppercut. Okay? Now, regardless of where you are facing in the room, if you were just in a fighting stance, I said do an uppercut, this hand would check, you would stand up off that back hip, you would crouch, and you would stand up into that uppercut just like we talked about last class. Okay? So finish the footwork. For starters, people get in a hurry, and I got uppercuts flying at every which angle when they're coming off this way. Okay? Just finish your footwork, figure out where you are in the room, and then do an uppercut. Now, yes, that will become more fluid and kind of flow into this, but first things first, figure out where you are. I've come to realize this is what gets people confused, is they don't finish the footwork. So remember, it's gonna be my backhand that does the uppercut. So they do half the step and they go, oh, this is my backhand, I got it. But then they finish the second step and this is no longer your backhand. Okay? Do the whole thing and then do your uppercut. Okay, so from the front, again, right then left, right hand checks, left hand, backhand does the uppercut. Then I rewind, and we go to the other side, left, right, left hand checks, right hand uppercuts, and rewind. Let's do it again. 1, right, left hand punches, 2, other side, 3, left, right hand punches, and back. All right, so then the last thing, make sure, we just talked about it on the back pivot motion, but similarly, if I get into a hurry with the footwork on this one, I get fall back. So everything we talked about, mistake for the uppercut and mistake for the footwork, still applies. I cannot be hitting up and out if I am falling away and backwards and falling backwards. There's nothing on that strike doing this. I come around, I set my feet, I crouch, I turn, and I generate power back in the direction from which I came. And then I rewind. And make sure you set your feet and turn your hips. Back spin, back step is your last one. For yellow up, I stepped and spun around. I did an outside touch block as I came around. I came back around the other side, feet or shoulder blocks apart as I come around. For orange belt, we are going to turn those into spinning back fists. Okay? So as I step and I come around, I'm going to do a back fist. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do a back fist. Remember, our back fist is going to be this side hammer fist. Now, a lot of like what we talked about for the back side kick, there's obviously a danger, there's a time and a place. Like we talked about, if I'm out of position and coming around, sometimes it's a good recovery to keep coming around and use that momentum to spin around that spinning back fist. However, it's not something that we want to do a lot of, okay? So, as I do this, I'm going to step. Here's the trick. My front hand is going to go to my back ear. As I come around, see how I'm covered? Because I don't want to spin around and be blind and be turning into something. Okay? So as I'm coming at the camera, I step, I come around. See, I'm covered behind, and then the back fist comes out. Front hand comes to back ear. I come around and back fist. So facing the front, I step with my left hand comes to my right ear, I come around and I back fist. My right hand comes to my left ear, I come around and I back fist. 3 and 4, I step back into 45 like I did before, I do my same low outside touch block, and I add a hammer fist, out and down. Again, if it helps you conceptualize. They did a roundhouse kick. I step back, I block the kick, they started to fall down. Right, so after they kick, I block, they start to come down here, and then that hammer fist is smashing down to my face or my collarbone. Right? I got out of the way, they block, they come down, wham, there's the hammer fist there. And the versimetry sake, they're over here kicking this way, I block, they're falling down, and then there's this punch to the face, or hammer fist to the face there. Okay, so one more time, starting at the top. Left foot steps, left hand, right elbow high, back fist, reset the hands, fighting stance. Right hand to back ear, left hand comes around, coming behind that back fist, I reach hammer. Stepping back, block, and hammer, block, and hammer. Right foot steps, right hand goes to left ear, come around and back fist, rechamber the hands. Around and back fist, rechamber the hands. Block, hammer, block, hammer. Okay? All right, that's pretty much it. Like I said, we can rewind. I kind of slowed things down in pieces to make sure you saw the mechanics. Make sure you go full speed, full power. Once you get those mechanics, be able to open it up, but slow it down. Feel your hips turning, feel that potential, you're in your legs, you're on balance, you're ready to drive, change direction, and put good power into all those strikes. Like I said, if you can get to these major angles, but do so in such a way that you're ready to really throw some hate when you get there, we're gonna be on our way.